Well, I've been at this with the NFL Network for 18 years, doing this show now. This is my 8th year, and I've never asked the coach the question I'm about to ask you, Brandon Staley, but here we go. There is a circumstance. I don't know if you are aware of it, and you might be because you're very perceptive, that if the Steelers win and the Colts lose, that both you and the Raiders make the playoffs if you tie on Sunday Night Football. And there are a lot of people talking about this right now. And would you actually willingly take a tie when you know that that assures you of making it, and the other team, if you communicate with that other team, do something like that? Coach Brandon Staley.
Yeah, that's a pretty loaded scenario there, Rich.
Yeah.
You know, like that is a all-time coffee shop scenario.
Yep.
I feel like I'm with my buddies at the University of Dayton or something like that.
Yep. That's what people are talking about.
You know, I think we all respect the game and the NFL shield and the integrity of this game far too much to you know, be complicit in something like that. This game matters too much to too many people, and we want to play our best and be proud of the result one way or the other. And so I know we're going to do everything we can to go win this game and play the way we're capable of playing. And I hope that all the fans and everybody that loves the NFL will be proud of the game on Sunday.
I appreciate you giving me an answer to the stupidest question I've admittedly ever asked an NFL head coach. But this is truly, Brandon Staley, something that so many fans are talking about. And I even just said about 10 minutes ago, knowing that you're coming on the program, that, you know, how would you do something like that? What do you get Telesco hooking up with Mayock and you and Bisaccia on a Zoom and what? And then you kneel for 3.5 hours in front of the country? I mean, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Yeah. But I do have a coach who's playing this game, and I wanted to put that in front of you, you know, and present that to you.
I mean, I think you know, for the NFL, I think, as you know, you've been in the NFL now pretty much your whole life. I mean, what makes it so special is the competition and the level of integrity and respect that it stands for. And certainly that's what we're going to try and live up to this Sunday.
Coach Brandon Staley, thank you for the times you've called in during this regular season. And for you and the Charger faithful, I hope we have a playoff conversation and many more to come. So thank you for the time, and Happy New Year to you and yours.
Thank you, Rich. Happy New Year. Thanks for having us.
You got that's Brandon Staley, the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers, who is hanging up the phone and saying that was the dumbest question I've ever heard. But
so no tie.
That's not going to happen.
No,
but everyone's saying, like, why wouldn't the Chargers and Raiders do that?
Well, it makes too much sense.
Why does it make sense?
Because they both make the playoffs.
But it doesn't matter. That's not what it's about. It's about
making the playoffs. It's about winning a championship. Rich, you can't. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Can't win the championship if you don't make the playoffs.
Yes, but you can be assured of making it by winning yourself. You don't have to care about the other guy.
But if you play to win,
do you really mean what you're saying? Are you playing devil's advocate?
If you play to win, you might lose. But if you play to tie, you guarantee yourself the win.
But how do you do that, though?
By the way, though, if this game goes to overtime.
I'm just having fun.
Hold on a second. Let's just say this. If the game goes to overtime and tying does benefit you, right? Mm-hmm. And it does benefit you, and you start taking the air out of the ball to make it, and you're on the other side, do you just clearly let them do it? Like, what if one team in overtime, where overtime is reached because, you know, you're competing your asses off and it's just an awesome game, and it goes to overtime. If Sunday Night Football goes to overtime and it's just like, hey, if these teams end in a tie, they both make it, and you're trying to win, and you take 6-7 minutes off the clock and kick a field goal and miss, and the other team now has it.
Okay.
Do you just take a knee on it to just make sure that you tie? At this point, it benefits you to tie. Forget about the fact that it benefits the other team. What if you do that to take the air out of it and give 40 seconds left to the other team to win, and they use it to beat you? As opposed to just taking the tie and saying, screw it. They use it to beat you. You're going to kick one from 55 yards out just to win. When the miss means you're in it anyway. But you're just spitting it your last breath like the Wrath of Khan at the other opponent.
I don't know, Rich.
What happens that? Like, that could be absolutely the moment that this coach we just chatted with is in. And you got to look your guys in the locker room and say, we're playing to win. That's all we're about.
This is too exhausting to think about.
You win the game. You win the game. It's a fascinating, good for this type of forum conversation. But when it comes down to actually executing it and talking to a man whose life is all about competition and winning and creating that environment for his team and his locker room and his franchise, what are you going to do? Just take a knee for 3.5 hours?
Yeah. Plus all this talk about
and
ties.
I appreciate him answering that question. But I kind of felt compelled to ask the question that everyone is talking about. Like, they should tie. They should absolutely tie. Why wouldn't they tie? It's an easy thing to tie. They both in. Shouldn't they get together and tie this whole thing? And then without the idea of what's the nuts and bolts of making that happen.
I know you.
And of course, his answer should have been like, you're an idiot. I'm hanging up the phone now. Forget about me giving you that parking spot. Out.
I'm never calling again.
I'm never calling again.
Bye. But it would be cool if they just played for a tie, though.
Well, if they go at it on Sunday night
and they just happen to tie,
stop, and it happens to go into overtime, that will be a fascinating conversation between Al and Chris for the whole country to see, because whoever wins the toss is going to try and win the game. But what if they try and win the game and they take a ton of time off and the other team gets the ball back with just 2.5 minutes to go? Yeah. Do they run the risk of losing? No. In a regular time, forget about the fact that the tie would put the other team that you're trying to beat in also. You would play for the tie at that point in time because the tie gets you in.
Gets you in.
Correct.
And it just happens to
get the other team in. So you're playing for that tie. My question is, what if you play for that tie and then you have to punt? And the other team's got like 60 seconds left. Does that guy return the punt for a touchdown and just say, yeah, we win, and you're out?
For hate's sake, I spit my last breath.
Thank you very much. That's the Wrath of Khan. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Like, and then the other team is kind of like, has to understand that that's the way the cookie does in fact crumble.
Hello?
What I'm praying for is like 23-20, Raiders get the ball, they drive down the field, Daniel Carlson hits a field goal to send it to overtime.
Right.
And then it's going to be must-see.
They have to send it to overtime because a loss means they're out.
Right.
They have to keep to try to win. And somebody will try to win in overtime. The question is what happens if that doesn't materialize and the other team gets the ball back with a minuscule amount of time left, knowing a tie gets them in, do they still try to win it? And if they just try to take the air out of the ball and give it back to the other team for whom a tie also does get them in, do they try and win it just to say, we're in, you're out? Even if we had taken a knee, we'd both be in. And the Steelers and their faithful are living and dying with every second. The problem is this is all great conversation that is never going to happen for two reasons. One, competitors in the NFL will never, ever purposefully take a knee for the other team. And two, the Jaguars have to beat the Colts. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.